What would you do if you were cold, hungry, and turned away from the only place you hoped could give you rest? Would you give up, or take one step that could change everything? This is the story of a man who was judged, denied, and left on the street, but what he did next shook an entire city and made history. Before we dive in, let me ask you, have you ever been judged for something beyond your control? If so, you'll feel this story deep in your heart. Don't forget to subscribe to Skin Deep Stories, where we bring you powerful, emotional stories that uncover the truth and inspire change. His name was Thomas. He was a homeless black man, wandering through a wealthy neighborhood on a freezing night. His clothes were torn, his shoes barely held together, but his spirit, though tired, was unbroken. He walked up to a local shelter, his last hope for warmth and safety. But at the door, he was met with stares, whispers, and finally the words that cut deeper than the cold. "We're full. Try somewhere else." But Thomas knew the shelter wasn't full. He saw empty beds through the window. What they meant was, "Not for you." He stood there in silence, the winter air burning his skin. He could have walked away. He could have let despair win. But instead he took a step that no one expected. Instead of begging or breaking down, Thomas walked straight into the town square the next morning, climbed onto a bench, and began to speak. At first, people ignored him. A homeless man talking? What could he possibly say? But then, his words cut through the noise of the city. He spoke of injustice, of how shelters weren't meant to keep people out but to bring people in. He spoke of dignity, of humanity, of how a community is only as strong as how it treats its most vulnerable. Passersby stopped. Phones came out. His voice, raw and powerful, spread online within hours. Soon, hundreds gathered in the square not to mock, but to listen. And within days, his speech went viral, reaching millions across the country. City officials who once turned a blind eye were now forced to act. Policies changed, shelters were reformed, and it all began with the voice of one man society had silenced. But here's the part no one saw coming. Thomas, the man they had called just another homeless black man, was once a professor wrongfully evicted, stripped of his livelihood after fighting discrimination in his workplace. His story wasn't just about homelessness, it was about resilience, injustice, and the power of truth. And because he refused to stay silent, history was made. So, what do you think? Could you have found the strength to speak when the world tried to silence you? Share your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. And if this story moved you, make sure to hit that subscribe button here on Skin Deep Stories so you never miss another powerful journey like this one. Because sometimes, it only takes one voice to change everything.